What up, everyone? Shark here. Got a double header for you today. 2 1v1s sent in by people who are looking for a little bit of helpful feedback on their play. And in both cases, the player submitting the replay is just a little bit, I'd say, outmatched in terms of elo, but not necessarily in terms of skill, right? So what we're going to do here, we're going to start with this game between Saba playing Brits against HelpingHans playing DAK. He's a player that really needs no introduction. I've got Rather Splendid Cromwell helping me cast this one, and you'll see we're going to really focus on what Saba can do just a little bit better to give him a better shot at knocking off the champ here. So without further ado, let's get to the first match. Thank you. Thank you. So down here in blue, playing UKF, we have Saba going 2 sapper to section command post. Pretty standard start. Opposite him in red is HelpingHans playing DAK in red here, and he's immediately gone Italian Combined Arms and Bersaglieri. So this map, Langres, kind of a classic. Cromwell, as we're looking at this, I'm looking at the TAK map. Obviously, you've got the big split down the middle with the central CP, and then both sides have strategic point cutoffs. But otherwise, relatively high resource map. You got 4 plus 16 munis, or excuse me, 5. A couple plus or 3 plus 10 fuels. So should see decent, decent tech, decent scaling as long as this doesn't get out of hand.
Absolutely. Yeah, a bit of a mismatch. It's curious to see what Saba does here. I assume he's going to lock in Canadians. Well, he has.
Yeah, immediate. Yeah. And so this approach from Hans, I think, is fairly meta, right? Bersaglieri, Krodschützen, in a 1v1 on a wider map, you're just trying to spread out the map as quickly as possible. I like the counter here from Saba with the Dingo. I think the Dingo is a good choice early against DAK.
Yeah, always, right? Always. Yeah. Sometimes even not against DAK. Like, I think just being able to trade HP for manpower so early on in the game as Brits is so, like, just really good to help you scale up, help you have good trades.
Yeah, and so the Dingo it's nice because it trades effectively, and until the half tracks get the combat half track upgrade, they don't really have the armor to deal with it. The downside, though, is the map presence, because the Dingo is the one ultralight that can't cap, no matter what you do with it.
Yeah, and the Brits don't have any dedicated capping units, so it's like, oh, the light goes down to the mappers.
Never underestimate the damage that SMG units can do at range to ultralight vehicles.
Cheapest SMG in the war, probably. Still works. Just
a blob of stamped metal.
Yes. We had to stop giving them to the French.
No.
Because they kept... I won't tell a long story, but basically, they kept, like, not fighting the Germans. They kept, like, robbing tobacconists and stuff. So it's like we had to just stop selling to the
French. That's so quintessentially French.
Yeah, so it's a true story as well. You can look it up.
So okay,
sorry, French.
So Saba is going for, he gets one section out. It's got enough manpower for a second. And he goes for it there. Hans getting a third squad of Bersaglieri. So this is where, so Saba, I like this play, right? If you go to Canadian shock, even without the Canadians, the benefits of this battle group just make your infantry better as a whole. And then for Hans, the third Bersaglieri is probably a reaction to the loss of the Krodschützen. Because otherwise, most of the time you see players mix in like a Panzer Grenadier squad or a second Panzer Pioneer for the utility that they provide. Bersaglieri are good because of their speed, but they don't always scale very well, especially against some of these like Brit infantry that scale extremely well into the late game with the upgrades.
I think when the Dingo was back in base and he was repairing, I think there was an opportunity to heal those engineers with the Dingo heal. So obviously Saba's probably like 100 times better than me. It's just something that I also forget to do sometimes as well when there's a lot going on in a 1v1.
Yeah, this is an interesting push here in the middle. I see what he was thinking, but that he doesn't actually get the cutoff. He bleeds a couple of models to the Bursas, and he still has these fuel and strategic point left uncapped on his flank. And so I think Saba's going to start feeling the resource pinch here shortly. Hans has already got his tier 2 out and teching fire support elements.
Yeah, so interestingly, I think that Saba's actually won most of the engagements, right?
Yeah.
But he hasn't capped. Hans has just been constantly capping, and this is a 1v1, and capping is probably the most important thing you can do.
Yeah.
Oh, are these flake failures? Oh, they are. What a Chad, Saba.
Nice.
That was cool. Well done.
But it doesn't, I hate to say it, doesn't do anything for him, right?
Yeah.
The bursts broke contact, but so did the dingo. I think this is where you see like Hans's APM is so high, and Saba, his unit's just a little bit less active.
Yeah, you can see it.
I'm really worried about. No, I'm just really worried about a flak filling hitting the field here in the next like 30 seconds, and really kind of ruining Saba's day. He's a long way out from a Humber. He could get an AT gun, but
yeah, he has to get an AT gun. This is the only way. The worst thing he could do right now is build a Canadian section, which I'm terrified he's going to do.
Yeah, it kind of looks like he's banking. Oh, don't repair there.
Oh, it's really risky. Don't do that.
Yeah, they're targeting the sappers. The sappers bleeding down. This section here, he's just got to put him in green cover. In green cover, they're really, really durable, especially got range against the Bursley. They'll do some good damage. And then I'm glad he finally picked up this +10 fuel. The nice thing about the Canadian Shock with the like attacking spirit is you can just keep your units running around capping to keep their health up. There you go. All right, so he's invested into the shock troopers.
Oh, I think that's a terrible. I don't know this player, and I would never want to downplay anyone, but I see this all the time, and I think this is just a terrible mistake. If he's getting the Piet, it's just not enough. It's just not enough.
Yeah, the way that I read this. So first off, he needs to go not Piet, or excuse me, not mortar. The Piet would have some benefit because the flak filling's on the field, right? But he's basically being beat on the mobility front. And so what he really needs is more map presence. Oh, weird camera movement there. More map presence, and honestly, something like a Humber to be able to push this flak filling off. The upside to the Humber is that with 3 Bursley squads on the field, Hans doesn't have anything that can hard counter the Humber. He can always do the Panzerjäger call-in, but that's kind of a separate choice. And then you're forcing him to waste his half-track deployment on the Panzerjägers. Well, there it is. Hans is expecting the Humber, I suppose. Piat's about to pop here.
Yeah, and again, I've never want to talk bad about another player. It's just, the Piat, the Canadians it's like an anti-dive, anti-tank tool.
Yeah.
You can't use it like guards. You can't use it like Jägerschreck. It's not going to work. The wind-up's too big. He's going to get shredded by this flak before he even gets one shot off his Piat off.
Yeah.
It's never going to work out. It makes me sad to see it. Yeah.
One other thing I wanted to highlight. So attacking spirit gives obviously a healing bonus, but it stops when you retreat. So for those sappers that triggered it and then retreated, they're actually not getting healed anymore. Oh man, and these Bursley just have all the luck, taking a bunch of damage, not dropping really any models. Love to see this section hop into cover over here. Saba's tech Stuarts. He's got enough fuel to get, so he's building one now. And actually, I don't hate the Stuart as a counter to the flak filling. Especially, nice Gammon Bomb comes in, forces a Bursley area away.
I wonder what he's saving up for, because he can get his incendiary munitions if he wants.
And well, he needs to tech rifle grenades, because rifle grenades with the incendiary munitions are just gross.
Yeah,
they do so much damage.
He's got his 2 sappers and his Gammon Bomb on his Canadian, so he's got a lot of grenade potential.
That's fair
at the moment. But yeah, the rifle grenade incendiary stuff is amazing, especially on buildings.
Yeah, I'm wondering why Hans keeps going for this +16 muni, which takes forever to decap versus just sliding over to this cutoff.
Yeah.
Oh, these poor sappers. If the flak filling chases, the Stuart finds the Panzerjäger half-track, does a bunch of damage early. Bursley try to throw a grenade on the retreat path and kind of whiff a little bit. I think Saba, he either needs an AT gun, or honestly, I think the Stuart's enough AT for right now. I think he needs another section on the field to help manage just the map presence issue.
Yeah.
Oh, the Panzerjäger's in the building. That's a nice choice. They're going to get a couple of hits off on the Stuart immediately. Yeah, and now the unfortunate thing is Saba's kind of forced into, like, not necessarily blobbing, but keeping all of his units together to try to manage, like, to win the engagements. Oh, Dingo smoked by the Flakverling.
10-minute Dingo, I give it to him. That's a solid Dingo pass.
Yeah, 10 minutes for the Dingo. Not bad. But the downside is, you know, as he's just fighting to kind of regain this VP and his fuel, which is still cut off, Hans has gobbled up the rest of the map. Yeah, that one Flakverling, a Panzerjäger squad, and a Bersaglieri squad able to just kind of fight a nice delaying action against all these Brit infantry. And Saba's floating some manpower, but unless he invests in some decent anti-infantry, the Bersaglieri are going to continue to scale. They've just unlocked the Bredas.
Yeah. He really needs brands on these sections, but I just don't think it's going to happen. No munis.
He actually invested into a second shock section.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, now the Pack 38 gets a shot in. Stuart could shrug off the Panzerjägers, but not the Pack 38. So we're going to see pretty large-scale retreat. Bersaglieri grenade in on the sappers. They just immediately retreat. Oh, poor Saba is kind of shoved back into his base here.
Yeah, it's looking pretty desperate for him.
I like the choice on the Stuart. I wish he... I can't tell if he went for... Not the repairs.
He's got neither of the upgrades.
I think with all this infantry on the field too, you need the tank commander upgrade.
Yeah.
The passive buff to infantry is really good.
I think he's just starved for munis in general. Like no brands. The only thing he's really got is the flamethrower and the Piet.
Yeah.
He's thrown a gammon bomb.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not great.
Yeah. So we're gonna have lots to kind of talk about on the back end of this.
Yeah, I reckon so.
Even like this engagement here, right? Yeah, like the infantry sections will out DPS these Bersaglieri. But you see the Bersaglieri at least in the yellow cover, the section standing out in the open. That's just like little micro upgrades moving them into this yellow cover. And especially at Vet 1, right? They get a accuracy bonus against units in cover when they're in cover, or units out of cover, right? So you're encouraged as Brits to play with your vetted infantry from a covered position and fight at range.
Mm-hmm.
So little things like that would make a huge difference. Hans already unlocking tier 4. Saba's got some spare manpower, and he's building a second Stuart. I don't think at this point, at the 12-minute mark, with the anti-tank tools that Hans has on the field, a second Stuart is going to turn the tide.
No.
I wonder how this game and these engagements feel to Saba, because I think, like, at least early, you hit on it, it felt like he was winning many of the engagements, but losing on the map control front. And so I wonder if the way he kind of feels right now, he's like, well, I'm doing okay. He's like, I'm down on VPs, I'm down on map control, but I've been pushing the Bersaglieri off, I've been forcing the Flakverling away, so I'm probably okay. I think he doesn't really have a good feel for the resource situation and just how much map control Hans has had. Flakverling gets forced back, couple of big hits. Pack 38 in the back is there to support. This is actually a nice push, kind of on multiple fronts with the Stuarts in support.
Yeah. Oh, here comes the gammon. This could be huge, actually.
That's gonna hit hard. Oh, but it doesn't. What? That was so lame.
Oh.
Oh, unfortunate.
Oh, sad. I really thought that was going to go down.
I did too. It's just like it forgot to do the explosive damage and just did the flame damage. Yeah, and then you also see Hans having 3 + 16 muni points all game. Mines everywhere. No sweepers for Saba either.
You can't afford them even if you wanted them.
Yeah, that
Shouldn't have turned that gammon off.
Black Furling's fully healed. AT guns in support. Hans uses med truck for healing and reinforcement. Now a P3 coming out.
P3 on the field, yeah.
There's enough, like a big enough soft counter here between the two Piats and the two Stewarts to potentially deal with the P3, but you don't want to like win with soft counters, you know?
Yeah. It's just like there's a lot of potential expensive greed with those two Piats as well, trying to get them off on the Panzer 3.
Yeah.
Panzer 3 is not a joke, you know, you have to respect it a little bit.
Especially as it gets upgrades and scales up. So they've already upgraded, or Hans has upgraded the vehicle survival package, so the P3 will come with smoke and a little bit of extra health. I think even though I'm pretty sure this match is close to over, I think there's a lot we can take away from this. So I am excited to kind of do the post-game discussion.
Yeah, me too. I got a lot to say.
Yeah. Pack 38, all chips weight Stewarts. And they're both in need of repairs now. Man, the flak furling, I think, like, that is the answer to a Canadian shock battle group. In my mind. Like, with the buffs to the Brit infantry, these sappers getting picked off by the Bersaglieri. Oh,
there goes one Stuart.
That was a big hit from the P3. Yeah, this is, I think, the sappers, it looked like they were in cover, but they weren't getting the cover bonus. This is rough. Yeah, losing that Stewart, not enough manpower to get an AT gun out, not enough infantry on the field to deal with the Bersaglieri.
Yeah, this is what I was worried about.
Yep.
They're trying to face tank the P3 with the Canadians.
Yep. And the Canadians are very tanky, but that's not... he needs them on prioritized vehicles, because right now they're wasting their Piat shots on the Bersaglieri.
Oh, unless he lands a lucky roll like that. Just slap the Bersa with the Piat.
He's inflicting some bleed, but it's too little too late here.
Yeah, he's literally like Hans has dealt literally twice as many casualties to Saba.
Which is where that's the sign of like successful DAK play, right? Is a KD significantly in your favor. But for such an infantry heavy build from the DAK, that's not a good sign for the Brits.
Yeah.
All right, I like the Recce package upgrade, but I think you need to prioritize other uses for munitions at this point.
Is he going for a base barrage? I think this is a sign of great disrespect. If it's what I think it is.
This isn't cool. Yeah, don't be that guy.
I think that's one way to tell your opponent that the game's over.
Yeah, the triple cap's on. That's really funny. The sappers hit the 250 with a flamethrower and it slows it down.
Yeah, the pyrotechnics.
Love that. P3 is gonna find the Stewart here. Yeah, the triple cap.
That's gonna be it for Saba. Throw in the towel.
Yeah, Stewart's gone. Yep.
GG, well played.
He throws the GG. All right, Jamie. So you said you got thoughts. Let's hear them.
Yeah. So I really like the Canadian battle group, but the trick with the Canadians is don't get trapped in letting the Canadian shock infantry. Don't get trapped into letting them mess up your normal Brit timings. Mm-hmm. Okay, so because Vanilla Brits is so strong, Vanilla Brits is great. Don't let the Canadians ruin that. Mm-hmm. You know, get your Humber out on time, get your AT gun out on time, and then have your Canadians supplement that as opposed to replace that. Okay.
Yeah.
Because you don't want your Canadians being your solid AT counter. Like, you're against DAK, just get an AT gun. Your Dingo, it can heal. You know, you can stall for healing as well before you get your 1 CP. What's it called? Healing ability.
Oh, the attacking spirit. Yeah.
Attacking spirit. Yeah. Which I get you're going to lock in because it's like super strong and it's super broken at the moment. But yeah, don't let the Canadians get in the way of your normal Brit timings, because your normal Brit timings are great. Brand sections are great. Put your muse into the things you'd normally put them into, and don't let those 1 CP Canadians be too tempting. Get one for sure. Get one, or but don't use them as your AT counter. This is never going to work.
Yeah,
especially against someone like HelpingHans.
So I do want to say I really like the design of the Canadian shock troops, because they are, of all of the kind of the elite infantry available in this game, they are the one that feels the most balanced to me, because they're best when you have one squad and you use them for a very specific purpose, right? So they're pretty tanky. They can take a lot of damage. They've got some good utility even without the upgrades. They do good damage, but they're not overwhelming. But if you let them bleed a lot, then they kind of hurt you. So I think their best use is with that mortar package. If you're dealing with a lot of kind of entrenched positions or a lot of team weapons, they can move up with some good support. They can do what shock infantry do, and that's, crack things open for you for the rest of your infantry or your vehicles to make a good play. I think the PIA upgrade for them is designed to allow them to scale against vehicles in the late game. And to me, it feels much more balanced than, say, like the Jaeger Shrek, because they're not as deadly against infantry without using their abilities. That said, I think you're spot on. I think investing too heavily into shock troopers was kind of the biggest build order mistake.
I could see it. I said the worst thing you could do right now is buy a shock trooper, and then I could see it happening. It's like, shit, here it comes.
Yeah. I just because I'm not going to do like the formal build order review for this, but instead, if you're playing as Saba and you see Bersaglieri hit the field for DAK, you see the Kradschützen, and it, Bersaglieri, it's a blessing and a curse, right? So this style of DAK play is going to be different. He's going to be able to spread out the map on me and eat up the resources, but they don't scale as well as Brit infantry, and they are very, very vulnerable to vehicle play. So immediately the choice for the Dingo looks brilliant. The early Dingo play was really good. This is where I think if you've got good fuel control, like you said, you get your Humber out, maybe you go Stewart, or you say, I'm going to push for Crusader. But if you don't have good fuel control, then flood the zone with your infantry, right? The infantry sections are good if you get them the infantry training upgrade, and you have an equal number of sections on the field as Bersaglieri, you will win over time as long as they scale veterancy consistently. So I think that was from a builder perspective, apart from going for the shock troopers, I think as soon as you see Bersaglieri, you think, I need to spread out the map and I need vehicles. Sappers, weirdly, I don't think do as well against Bersaglieri, just because they're almost always in the open and Bersaglieri almost always in cover if they're used well. And so they just bleed down. But sections can play that game a little bit better.
Yeah. I think on that map as well, it's fine to, I think what he should have been doing was sending his infantry down the middle and having his sappers cap on the flanks. Because what he was doing, it was all kind of muddled, right? Because sometimes he was capping on the flanks with his shock troopers, with Piats. I just think you should, in that map, you should just always be going down the middle with your infantry, with your combat infantry, just because of the way the cutoffs are and the way that the middle VP works. And then your sappers are really good capping units on the flanks, especially if you're fighting piles or something. They're going to dominate. But yeah, just think about where you're and there's so much nice green cover in the middle for sections to be behind. All those weird hay bales and stuff around the road. It's great for them to fight in. So they perform really well there.
Yeah.
And I'm not really worried about versus, because I feel like the sections with brands and infantry training are just better. They're just better. They scale better. I'm not worried about that at all. I would definitely get a Humber out against Bursts, 100% get a Humber out and be really aggressive with it and abuse the fact they don't have snares.
Yeah.
And then when Hans wants to dive you, you should have it. You should at least have one 6-pounder, right? That's it. You have a 6-pounder to back up your because that's the temptation when you're DAK, right? Is to drive your 250 in with some Panzerjägers in the back and take it out, which is fair. So you got to protect it with something. Protect it with a 6-pounder
or mines.
Or mines, yeah.
Because you've got, on this map, you've got a +16 fuel, or +16 muni right outside your base. So your muni income should be decent, right? I thought the flamethrower early was kind of a misplay, just because he wasn't bumping into units and garrisons all that much with the sappers. But as far as like the approach to the map, I think you're right? Utility units on the flanks for capping, especially because the way that map is split down the middle, if you don't own the middle VP, you can be easily cut off. But yeah, you grab your +10 fuel on one flank, you grab your +16 muni on the other flank, right? And then you put your combat power not blobbed in the middle, but fighting through the middle of the map. And if you think about keeping, like, you have 3 sections, you kind of keep them online but spread out. That allows you to kind of, and I'm trying to use my hands here, if you got this like line shape, but it allows you to collapse one side or the other. And that's the thing, like Bursiglieri, if you force them out of cover, you get a flank shot on them, you can start to bleed models, and then they have to retreat. And you can start to kind of collapse the whole pocket with your superior infantry.
For sure. If you could say one more thing about the Piet, is that I feel like he was trying to use his shock troopers like they were like guards. And they're just not like guards, because the wind up on the Piet's just longer. You can't be in the open chasing stuff down like you can with guards. You have to it's like an anti-dive, anti-tank, right? It's they're coming to you, they're going for your Humber, they're going for your team weapons, whatever they're diving for. And that's when the Piet's really coming into, like, it's where it's going to be the most like efficient, as it were. Especially with its vet one, what's it called, the crew shock, whatever it's called. That's amazing.
I think the 90 munis that he spent on the Piet could have been better spent elsewhere, right? A minesweeper, a couple of mines, the recce package. So here's the thing. So if you're not playing espionage, the recce package is nice, but Hans is playing very mobile, right? No team weapons, no cloaked units. So the recce package loses a little bit of its utility. And you're especially behind on munitions, so you're not using the base bombardment as much. Like you said, the Brens are a really, really nice upgrade on the sections, and they definitely outscale the Bredas on the Bursiglieri.
I've actually had some success in this map using the munitions, the free munitions on this map with the recce section, because of the way that if you manage to get a siege on the cutoff, it's so easy to drop base artillery on the base entrance. Seriously, it's so abusable, and it doesn't cost anything. As soon as you get the cutoff, it's free.
Wow.
And it's something you can do and keep doing.
All right. You all heard it here first from the Rather Splendid Cromwell, how to abuse free munition spam for Brits. Then the last thing, I brought it up in the cast just a little bit, with your Brit infantry, making sure they're fighting from cover. A little bit of a micro attacks, but that's where you see kind of the skill expression at the higher levels of the game. Moving your units into the right position at the right range for the engagement. The Vet 1 ability, hey, not only do you take less damage when you're in cover, but now you do additional damage to targets that are out of cover. That's a great way to punish Bursiglieri moving in on you. And so you want to activate that whenever you can. And all you got to do is keep them in green and yellow cover for that. Jamie, this is good. Saba, thank you for sending this. I think it's a good game. You definitely made Hans work for it. And so thanks for sending this. I hope the feedback was helpful. And we'll roll right into the next one.
Thanks, Saba.
All right, so rolling into game 2 here. We've got YOMAMMA playing USF against Liberator playing Wehrmacht. And so on top of the ELO disparity, which is only a couple hundred points this time, there's a significant gap in games played between YOMAMMA and Liberator. And this is just another indicator of the level of experience that a player has. So what we're going to do is try to make up for that gap by analyzing the things that Liberator can do a little bit differently in either his execution or his build order to try to close that gap and win this game. So again, without further ado, let's get to the game. Sweet. So now game number 2, we've got Liberator in blue playing Wehrmacht up against YOMAMMA. I don't know what she's doing up this late, but she's immediately locked in. Airborne, Pathfinders, but now building a barracks and building some engineers. So just one Pathfinder, it looks like, for your dear mother. Liberator going triple pyos into infantry command post. So, what are your thoughts?
I actually, so I used to do this a lot. The thing is that it takes longer to build a scout now than it does to build a rifleman. Because the changes to build times. So even just having one extra Pathfinder can sometimes be really like painful to squeeze out. So I totally understand his reasoning here with getting an engineer. And I like to see the engineer, an early engineer, sort of like a tax you pay, and it's better to pay your taxes earlier than later. That's how I see it.
You are just the ideal citizen. This is an interesting capping decision from Liberator, right? Going from the cutoff to the +10 muni. Normally, I like to go kind of across +16, +10 fuel, and then the +10. But I'm just gonna be critical because I know him and I'm allowed. The triple pyo I think is a good start just because you get a lot of that space, but a lot of that utility later with the pioneers. Okay, so I wonder if YOMAMMA, right, because going rifles with Airborne, I've seen this before where you run a rifle heavy build and then use paradrop reinforcements to keep them on the field.
Oh, I love paradrop reinforcements. You don't see it very often, but it's really cool. Really cool if you can make it work.
Yeah. So here we go. Yeah, giving up this building. So in Company of Heroes 2, this engagement would have favored the Grens because heavy cover was slightly better than garrison cover. But in Company of Heroes 3, a garrison's always better, and these rifles just going to annihilate the Grens here unless RNGesus steps in.
The ones on the roof will get the
height advantage as well. Yeah.
Yeah. He's got four riflemen on the roof, so it's pretty good.
Well, one of them's just got a Thompson, so who knows?
Yeah. Yeah, true. 3.5 riflemen.
Pyo's moving up. He's got enough muni for a flamethrower. Oh, now the MG42 opens up. Just spraying down this garrison. And now the rifle's actually starting to bleed, just the accumulation of DPS.
Yeah, he's got a flank with the engineers.
Yeah, and the other rifle squad. Oh, Liberator needs to not lose his MG42. He immediately retreats it.
YOMAMMA probably needs to retreat these 3 riflemen, to be honest.
Yeah, I
don't know, these Grens are really low.
The Grens are also really low. But yeah, now he needs to retreat, get away from the pioneers. That was a nice flank with the rifles and the engineers, and now the Pathfinder is coming on the long flank to grab this +10 fuel.
I don't know about this.
That's a poor retreat path. Oh, if the pioneers had chased, they could have run down those rifles, as weird as that sounds. Second squad of Grens out now for Liberator. He still hasn't chosen a battle group. And I wonder if he's thinking about a second MG42 or not. Now, third rifles on the field.
Infantry support centers in the build.
Yeah, Pathfinder's nice smoke off the MG, so he's going to be able to decap this fuel.
Smart.
Nice use of the Pioneers to close the ground, doing a little bit of damage. Yeah, Grens move up to get into cover. And then suddenly those rifles bleed a ton. So I feel like YOMAMMA's going to have to invest in healing relatively soon just to avoid bleeding excessively to the Wehrmacht Grenadiers, especially with their merge ability. They can get some really, really kind of cheap reinforcements and break the manpower economy.
He's done really well with this Pathfinder. There's so much value out of them.
Yeah.
And now that these flamethrowers are off the field, these Pathfinders can just sit in this building, really deny him this cap and the VP.
Yeah. No tools yet. Now, the Wehrmacht mortar is pretty good. Also, I wouldn't just stand... They're just standing here taking shots from the Pathfinders. Yeah. All right, let's adjust that. There we go. Map control has stabilized, but YOMAMMA's putting a lot of pressure on. Going for the med station now. Liberator is building a Luftwaffe company, which has been the overwhelming meta for much of this patch.
Liberator's +10's getting capped.
He's going to be behind on fuel, but fortunately a lot of the best units from the Luftwaffe company just require manpower and munitions.
Flat gun, baby.
Yeah, Flak 30 can be really good, and there's a temptation for USF now to lean into the motor pool, but the Flak 30 is a nice counter to a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
Pathfinder flare goes up, keep an eye on things.
Yeah, really nice.
Liberator building a medical bunker, nice. That is the right decision. Remember in a team game the other day, my team is like, I'll get healing. And they're like, where's the bunker? And he goes, oh, I did the base healing. I was like, why would you do that? Yeah, don't do the base healing for Wehrmacht. Build a bunker. All right. YOMAMMA going weapons support center. I don't know. He's got enough. He's got enough fuel to immediately go motor pool now on top of the healing and ISC. So I don't know that I agree with that choice. I really like the USF motor pool right now. Like, there are counters to it on the Wehrmacht side, but especially infantry heavy build, you get a couple of Greyhounds out. You can go Chaffee to counter a Whirlwind. Like, it's a nice bridging tech structure now in a way that it wasn't in a previous patch.
221's coming out. I like that.
Yeah.
It may be a little bit late, but I like it.
Pioneer Blob was going to win against the one rifle squad, but now bleeding against the larger American force. Oh, one Pioneer barely gets away. And YOMAMMA's smartly keeping units out of cover so that the flamethrowers don't do extra damage. On the opposite side, Grens throw a grenade, rifles, nice dodge. And I think across the map, the Wehrmacht units find themselves kind of surrounded by multiple USF units, which is either really frustrating or USF faction working as intended. And Grens forced away on the flank, and Liberator's a little bit of a rough spot here.
Interesting to see what YOMAMMA's going to do. Oh, bazookas, really? I thought it was going to be a 75 mil for sure. Bazookas, okay.
Yeah, bazookas, that's an interesting choice. Oh my gosh, so much fuel though, with 3 of the plus 10 fuels. Yeah, YOMAMMA techs grenades to deal with this 221. He pops flanking maneuver on the retreating rifleman, but I don't think it stacks anymore. It's a nice little like micro thought. It just doesn't. I don't think it stacks with the retreat sprint speed.
Here comes the flamethrower for the captain.
I say the captain in that building is pretty strong, but he sees the flamethrower coming.
Yeah, I wish he'd lock in passive healing on these Pathfinders, so just chilling with like 10 HP.
Oh, so the 221, so Liberator's gone mechanized, and with the raid package now the 221 can cap. And I like this. This is so good anti-infantry firepower, the ability to upgrade it to either map hacks or a Panzerbuchse, and now you can also harass some of these points. So at the very least, he has cut off YOMAMMA from that plus 10 fuel before he recaps it. This MG42 out in the open could be in trouble here if the rifles focus it.
No, they want to kill the engineers for some reason.
Yeah,
I guess he just wants the retreat.
Yeah, rifles pop BARs. Other rifles on the flank, and here's a flamethrower about to move up. And here comes the sprint from the rifles.
Oh, huge.
So the MG42 forced away. Grenade comes in, but Liberator dodges it with the Pioneers. Oh, the Bazooka Squad finds the 221. Does quite a bit of damage. That's going to be back for repairs.
Nice.
Oh, the Flame Pyos.
I think they're going to be okay.
Engineers on the retreat path, but yeah, I think they're far enough away. They'll be all right. Grens sparring with rifles. They are not going to win this engagement. And now YOMAMMA rolling into advanced logistics. So can continue to play very heavy with these infantry, but all of his fuel going into upgrades for the rifles. That might play into Liberator's hands if he ends up going for something like Whirlwinds.
Yeah, he can always call in a AT gun. Because he's airborne. He has the CPs. He hasn't locked it in yet, but nothing else, literally nothing else to lock in on that side of the tree.
Yeah. The Jaegers hit the field now as well. Liberator,
yeah, it's
throw him in green cover here, dude.
Yeah, Jaegers are definitely the flavor of the month. Captain's doing really well against these Grens, these LMG, really cool.
Oh, rifle grenade, nice thought. Dodged via retreat. 221's healed back up. Oh, Captain is bleeding to the Grens though. They're gonna close the distance. 221 forces the rifles away on the cutoff. I think YOMAMMA will. I don't know. 221's going to chase down this captain. Oh,
cold feet maybe, or maybe
go
a micro.
faster.
Oh, he just wants to cap. That's all he wants to do. Maybe he's worried about something.
Flame Pyos fighting Flame Engineers, but the Pyos should win that one. Oh, nice grenade on an MG42.
Ooh, big value.
Yeah. So, indecisive engagement there. Both sides end up retreating. Wow, YOMAMMA's got Liberator down to 250 VPs. That early game pressure is substantial.
Yeah. Liberator did a really good job keeping his piles alive. Still got all 3 piles. Normally, losing a pile is just part of the build, but not when you're as good as Liberator.
What's being dropped here? Is that
AT gun?
Paratroopers onto that plus 10 fuel. So with all of it's funny because there have been a lot of investments into the riflemen, but also the advanced logistics. So those paras going to scale really, really nicely.
Yeah, 3 rifles, a para, captain, and the Pathfinders. That's a lot of capable combat infantry.
Yeah, nice dodge on the grenade there.
Just get those rifles out of there. Bleed.
The Grens are actually going to bleed, though. The rifles in green cover, barred up with Pour It On them.
Pour It On him.
Yeah, you want to really break rifles, make Pour It On them break suppression like the Stosstroop and Vet one. Nice timing on the grenade, does a bunch of damage, but doesn't get any kills. Second squad of Jaegers hits the field. One of them's been upgraded with the Shrek, which I think it feels kind of like in advance of need. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it doesn't,
I guess
that's the problem with Jaegers right now, is it doesn't really hurt them at all.
Yeah.
He's also
because there's so many models, and only one model is replaced by an AT unit.
Yeah.
Right? So,
I feel like you brought this up in a video like 18 months ago, and it hasn't been changed.
Yeah. I don't know. It's fine.
Jaegers are also much chonkier in terms of health, and I think people realize they're 110 health per model, which puts them up there with the most elite infantry in the game. I think the only exception is Stosstrooping are at 120. So the Jaegers, and because the last model holds onto the Panzerschreck, they are a menace against vehicles. It's really difficult to counter them. But I'll stop whining about Jaegers. Liberator has unlocked support elements. Now has enough fuel for a Whirlwind, and I think a Whirlwind is a fantastic counter to YOMAMMA's build right now. There's only the one Zook squad on the field.
These powers are holding up really well against this 221.
Yeah, and with the LMG, they're also doing a lot of frontal damage. Another para squad coming in.
Oh my god, this is a lot.
Yeah, how much damage they're doing to the 221?
No, just infantry. This is just a lot of infantry. 3 rifles, 2 paras, 1 Pathfinder, a captain, bazooka.
Grenade does next to nothing. There you go. There's your first Pioneer squad. Dead on the cutoff.
Part of the build.
They achieve their objective.
Yeah. Was that the flamethrower one?
No, flamethrower one's still up in the center, supported by Grens.
That's okay. Although maybe run. There we go.
Yeah, Liberator, get that Werble out, homie. Let's go. There it is. He heard me 5 days ago in the future.
We've unlocked AT guns, so you see when the Werble hits, we can see potential AT gun getting dropped. Although he doesn't have the manpower.
He's got tons of fuel. All these Grens.
Oh, Grens. Oh, Liberator. Get out of there, buddy.
Barely get away. Captain might get a decent burst in, but doesn't. So the Grens get away.
This power is finally forced off the +10. All models survive.
Yep. Just back for, some healing, get some chow, and head back out and do it again. So YOMAMMA's gone for the supply drop instead of the paradrop reinforcement. So count me disappointed.
Yeah. It's fair, though.
Oh my god, is that a third squad? No, that's the supply
it's
drop on the
either
base.
supplies or AT gun, I think.
Get out of here with these infantry. Werble is moved up.
It's the Werble, yeah.
Yeah.
He's gonna have to stall. Well, he has his Zooks. His Zooks are on the way. You can put them in the house, that'd be really helpful.
Yeah.
Or you can run somewhere else.
The house getting kind of beat up here. 221 MG42, so Liberator stabilizing the fuel income. he really needs it. He needs another.
He's got 3 units on the +10. Is this a what's going on? There we go.
And it's not America because he can't farm veterancy that way.
Yeah.
So he's unlocked the Stug D with the Stoss trooping. Oh, if that mine goes off.
I think he might have cancelled.
No, it's definitely there. I see it.
Oh yeah.
I was hoping the Wurble would pop it while they were standing on it.
Oh. I think he maybe he thinks it's
Pathfinders
canceled.
hit a mine and immediately retreat.
Fair one.
Yeah, I can still see the mine there. Nice grenade from the Grens. Right, and now we're seeing, I think this is the AT gun getting airdropped into the center here.
Yeah, here we go.
Oh, there are a lot of mines over here. This Wurble needs to be careful about diving.
He has enough to get the P-47s, if that's what he wants, or maybe he's more of a carpet bomb man. Both are great, so I don't mind.
That rocket strike can be super helpful if you line it up correctly.
Oh, yeah, I'm a big fan of the P-47s. Big fan. Oh, I knew he didn't. I knew he thought that mine was oh, it's still there.
It's still there. The Grens hit 1. There are a couple mines down. Yeah, so those other Pioneers definitely need a minesweeper. This pair is actually in trouble with the Flame. Pio is going to continue to do a lot of damage.
Yeah, he needs to get out of cover.
Yeah.
That's a lot of manpower, bleed. Get out of there, buddy. There we go. 3, 4, 5 models. That's okay.
Lots of damage, but only 1 model lost. Now the Stug D with the Stoss trooping comes in. That is a phenomenal counter to this allied infantry heavy build.
Yeah.
And the Stug D can handle an AT gun, a single AT gun. So I really like this combo with the Wurble win for some mobility. You got a little bit hammer and anvil approach. Stug D is really chunky. Oh no,
these Grens are dead.
Dead, just dead.
That was a very bold move. Very bold move.
I guarantee you he just lost track of them for 5 seconds, and the paras plus the rifles just smoked it.
We're going to see a cooked nade here.
Oh, those Jaegers. Nice dodge over the wall. Yeah, now paras need to be careful.
AT guns. Maybe a side shot here if we're lucky.
Well, the Stoss trooping can easily hard counter that AT gun if they push right. Awkward high angle shot onto the Pathfinders. Riflemen look like they're thinking about trying for a sticky bomb. YOMAMMA now going for the improved rockets. No tier 4 still.
Captain earned his promotion. He's got the cutoff. He's holding. Cool guy.
Pioneers have a sweeper on them, but they forget to put it away, so they're just eating bullets. Oof.
Cut off. Run, Captain. You don't get paid enough for this. Get out of there. There we go.
Lots. I like this. The multiple simultaneous engagements kind of across the map. The 221 has the map hack upgrade that I think is going to be super helpful in just helping Liberator kind of anticipate where YOMAMMA is coming from. Sorry, it still makes me chuckle every time I hear that.
Maybe survival trading might be good for him. He's got so much infantry in the field. Get a lot of value out of it.
Yeah, for sure. And then also the demolition package, because with all the rifles, right? Like being able to lay mines everywhere.
I didn't want to say it because I'm starting to. I think people are getting annoyed at me. Just try not to bring it up. I'm like,
no, I only get annoyed when you use it against me. Otherwise, I respect it.
That's good.
The Martyr is an interesting choice. Again, kind of like in preparation, but not necessarily required at the moment.
Yeah, I just don't think he's going to go tier 4 at all.
Yeah, it certainly doesn't look that way. Now, for Liberator, I think what he needs to do is pair up his Grens with his Stoss. Oh, no. No, the Stoss troop. And this is a bad retreat path. Captain, flanking maneuver, rifles. Engineers are... Oh, and then the Stoss veer away on retreat. What is this retreat pathing? They literally turned on the way back.
Don't get in that building. Oh, Christ.
Alright, they immediately leave.
Yeah.
And the engineers hop in.
The smoke. Luckily, they brought their winter camo.
You will be in uniform, regardless of whether or not it makes sense. Oh, Captain, mark target onto the Stug. Sticky Bomb comes in. AT gun on the flank. This could be the end of the Stug right here. This is huge. He manages to flip it, and he pops the smoke. Nice. Good micro to save that Stug. Oh, look at this.
Look at the left VP. It's a verbal, a 2-2-1, and an MG4 all sitting on it. What's going on?
He's got to have the Whirlpool and the 2-2-1 grouped up together. That's the only thing that I can think. Oh my gosh. Look at this. Look at the float from YOMAMMA with the fuel.
318 fuel, 16 fuel. Crazy.
Just get another para. Like, really, really lean into it.
Yeah.
Going for the cutoff play again. Oh, man. Liberator's only got 80 VPs left. So if YOMAMMA really focuses on the triple cap, he can end this game very quickly.
Yep.
Yeah, I think, with these Stas, ideally you keep them paired with the Stug D, because the Stas can easily trade out that AT gun, and then you keep the Grens close to the Stas for merge, and you let your Jaegers and your Whirlpool kind of be your mobile unit on the opposite side of the map. Yeah. Oh, man.
This house isn't that healthy anymore.
No.
I wonder if he's going to use the mortar to shoot at it.
Yeah, there he is. The Shrek. Is the Shrek shooting at it too? It's chipping away. Oh, come on.
Oh, all right.
One more. The rifle's knocked out. Fortunately, the paras got away. But that's rough. That's a nice pickup.
Yep.
All right, so what's your next build here if you're Liberator? You go in for another Stug D Stas Troop and call in?
Yeah, I think Tier 4 is a bit of a trap. What's his battle group again? Oh, maybe
he has the Panther if he needs it at the end.
But there's nothing for it to fight.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a bit of an awkward situation. Yeah, it probably has to be the Stug again.
I would either do another Stug or I do a second Whirlpool. Just there's so much more mobile, and being able to run down some of these squads on retreat and really force the issue. My gosh, YOMAMMA's floating so much. There we go. Tank Depot in the build finally. Man, that
I honestly think.
Go ahead.
Sorry, you go. I think there could be a GG carpet bomb play. I feel like if he can put enough pressure to get him into his base, into that tight sector, I think he can make a really nice carpet bomb. Yeah,
and there's plenty on the field to deal with a Sherman, right?
Yeah. Actually, I just realized he's locked in P-47s.
Okay, so and he's going survival training now as well. I mean, he's floating so much fuel. He's had 3 of the 4 fuel points this entire game. Yeah,
he's played a really good economy game. Got advanced logistics so early, got crazy value out of it.
Yeah.
He's got survival training. Oh, maybe it's not enough for these Zooks.
Oh.
Or maybe it is. Good job.
They don't follow up. And the Zook's going to get away. A second Zook squad on the field. Wow.
There is... I don't know why I didn't call in the P-47s. This would be dead. It's an engine crit Stug. It's not going anywhere. Just call in the P-47s.
Yeah. Well, so it looks like Liberator is going to stabilize at 4 VPs to 445 for YOMAMMA. Oh no, the Stug. The Pioneers stop repairing to try to force the Zooks away. They do.
The
Pathfinders gunned down by the 221. Jaegers and 221 now trying to bully the paras. Now a Sherman on the way. This Whirlpool, I don't think he realizes the Whirlpool can't cap. It's not a light vehicle. I think he thinks that the Whirlpool can cap. Okay, another Stug D call in here. This is a lot of anti-infantry firepower, and YOMAMMA's he canceled the Sherman.
Look, there's so he had the Stoffstruppen, the Jaegers, and the Verbal all sitting on the +10. I just don't understand what's happening. Is it a keybind issue or?
It could be a control group thing. I'm not 100% certain.
But he also has an MG42, a Pioneer, and a Grenadier on the middle VP. I guess he's just stressed, right? He has 4 VPs. It's been 25 minutes. He's stressed.
Yeah, and yes, that is the most likely explanation. There's a little bit of micro fatigue, and then dealing with just all of these American infantry spread out everywhere. Oh, these rifles. Here's the rocket strike.
Oh, yes. Good job.
D
Good job.
immediately smoked. That's excellent use. The scout car goes down as well. Jaeger's just trying to hold this victory point. That's a big pickup for YOMAMMA. That is textbook rocket strafe, right? Use the sticky bomb to crit the vehicle, then bring in the strafe. Can't do it.
Sticky bombs. Can we get another?
Yeah. Oh no, this martyr left unattended.
Wait, where's that? Oh yeah, the AT gun really out of position. Double AT guns. Shoot. Get home. Okay. Oh no, he stops. He stops. Why? It's dead.
Yep. The one AT gun cleared. Actually, this captain could get run over as well. But you gotta use the Shrek to destroy that AT gun if you're not gonna pick it up.
Yeah.
YOMAMMA sees his opportunities, trying to get some VP pressure on here.
I feel like there's I think there's a lot of fatigue going on. These rifles are doing some weird stuff in the middle.
Oh, these rifles just critted the Whirlwind. If he hops on that VP, this could be it.
This could be it. He needs to charge the Verbal onto the VP to try to do enough damage to force a retreat, because he's going to lose the game.
Yeah, he's gonna have Pyos try to counter cap in the center. They got support from the Stug D and Stosstroopin, so they'll be okay. So it looks like we're gonna flip the cap here.
Oh, nades on the rifles. Oh, he's got pour it on.
Yeah, that's nice timing on the grenade. 2 more Pyos in the build for Liberator.
He's for capping, I think.
For capping and repairs for all of his vehicles.
Yeah.
Man, losing that Stug D was big. That was problematic for Liberator. Otherwise, I think he has the ideal army composition to deal with this. Oh, the Paras hop out of cover, but the MG42 packs up, so it doesn't matter.
Oh, AT gun caught out of position. Attack moved it forward, and it's just instant regret. Wrong neighborhood.
instant regret. Right, Liberator's got a nice big defensive setup here in the middle. White phosphorus round from the Zooks onto the MG42. The Stosstroopers say that's enough of that. Move up with the Stug D to apply some pressure. The MG42 just ate that white phosphorus round and hung out in it. That's bold strategy.
Oh, you could see another P-47 strafe in
but
here.
He doesn't have the munis for it.
No.
He got the crit. He's
called in the
supply drop right now, so he saw the opportunity just a little late. So YOMAMMA capping one side, but Liberator is going to counter cap the other side. I think we're going to see a slight VP drain here. Oh my gosh. Two. Ooh. They decap it just in time. Oh my gosh.
Too bad he couldn't transfer some of this fuel into. Okay.
Yeah, he's got all the fuel in the world. Oh, the Stosstroopers were able to clear the other AT gun at the front of the base. The Stug can afford...
I think he's going for it. P-47s?
He's got the shock, but still not enough unis for the P-47s.
120. Oh, he's so... If he hadn't thrown the last grenade...
Yeah, if he just chilled for just a second.
He's entered some math problems and fatigue.
Yeah.
All his engineers dead.
Oh, but the Grens, I don't think the Grens had the DPS for that. Maybe a lucky shot. Oh, the engineers get away. MG42 forced a retreat.
Okay, before he throws the nade, do the math. He's called it in.
He's called it in. The Stug doesn't see it.
Oh, it's dead.
Big hits on the rear armor. Oh no, Stug knocked out. So Liberator's got the triple cap on. This Martyr kind of awkwardly in the middle here. I don't think I think Liberator's still trying to like bleed out the USF and doesn't realize so much investment has been made into the manpower hacks and the infantry survivability that it's not really viable. Oh, please, he just unlocked a Panther. Please don't build a Panther. You don't need a Panther. There's nothing on the field that requires a Panther.
Oh, actually,
the Hellcat in the bid.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's almost like a Panther trap.
Right, yeah.
Oh, now Bulldozer.
So
okay,
like,
now...
It's like the... Yeah, this is better.
Yeah.
For
now there's a target for the Panther. Oh, the Whirlwind. Is he going to pick up these pairs on retreat? AT gun's been recrewed. Yeah, so unable to close out the para squad. The Stahlstruppen and Jaegers up front. The only downside, Liberator has nothing on the east side VP, so he's got to be careful that he doesn't just accidentally give up VPs. Oh, he's got the zeroing artillery. Obviously, he can't call it in the base sector, but I wonder if he can get a cheeky, like, edge of base sector hit with it.
Trap him inside.
He's got... YOMAMMA looks base locked. Oh, the Westba hits the field at the same time as the Sherman Bulldozer. Oh, Jaegers take a big hit and retreat. The Stas just eat that 105 round.
Really low rifleman on the cutoff. Oh, who's gonna make it?
Oh no, the follow-up shot from the Bulldozer. And that's an MG42 LMG just on the ground, free for anyone to pick up.
I'm looking at all this infantry. The captain can pick it up.
Yeah.
Double LMG captain.
Double LMG captain. Westba barrage coming in, but just kind of misplaced, not really hitting anything, unfortunately.
Come on. Double LMG captain, go for it.
Go
for it. Oh, Pile's dead.
Oh, man. Bulldozer doing a lot of work. Martyr starts to chip away at it. Rifles, they get the snare on the Whirlwind here, but still not enough munitions for the rocket strike. Oh, no. You got to get something. MG42's here to help cover the center VP.
Sugar plums.
Oh, no.
This could be it.
No, there's no way. There's no way. All they got to do...
Oh, no, don't leave the... What are you doing,
He left the circle. Why would he leave the circle? All right, there's the grenade.
Go back on.
Big hit. Zeroing Artie coming in. Oh, but this Whirlwind could go down to the Zooks here. MG42
artillery's coming in. Oh, he's gonna brave it. He's gonna stay in the artillery to decap.
Oh, that's a bad idea.
Crazy.
That's a bad idea. Oh, the captain gone. The pair is gone. Oof.
A series of terrible decisions.
But YOMAMMA still sees it. He's like, no, I just gotta get there. Panther arrives, but no, you need to cap. You need to get on that VP.
Oh.
Those Jaegers just need to stand on it. Oh no. Oh my gosh! What shot? That was the Wespa. The Wespa smokes the Zook squad. Point still neutralized. Pioneer's dead on the cutoff. I feel like Liberator doesn't care. Is Panther... Is he gonna push the Bulldozer here?
Oh, he's left his other AT gun unmanned. Left of base. He never picked it up. He needs it.
Here it is. Rifles hopping onto the West VP. There's no one to challenge.
Come on. Come on.
This is almost certainly going to do it.
Oh, come on. Just send a verbal. Send it. Send something. Send anything.
Paratroopers coming in on the center VP.
No. That's it.
That's it. That's it. Oh, Liberator. So close.
GG.
All right. So now kind of in the interest of the level up series and looking at what these guys can do better. So the quick build order overview for Liberator, you saw 3 Pioneers, 2 Grenz MG42 at the start, into Luftwaffe Company 221, which he uses fantastically kind of throughout the game. Support elements with some Jaegers, a Wurtable, and then 2 of the Stug D columns with Stahlstruppen. Ends up getting a Wespa and a Panther late in the game and builds a bunch of additional Pioneers. But that's his general approach, is it looks like to run Wurtable and Stug Ds into the Panther for the late game anti-armor. And then for YOMAMMA, really interesting combination of like the barracks and airborne build. The Pioneer, Engineer, barracks, 3 rifles, paratroopers, advanced logistics, survivability training. Really, really leans into the infantry, doesn't build tier 4 until late, relies on the airdropped AT gun call in for his anti-tank. Eventually gets a bulldozer out. Like I said, also BARs and grenades. So really invested into the infantry play. It works for him in the beginning, allows him to generate a lot of pressure. He starts to struggle a little bit with the anti-infantry power on Liberator side at the end. But so that's kind of the general approach from both players. So Jamie, over to you on kind of your initial thoughts here.
So yeah, the most interesting thing I think about this game is YOMAMMA's army composition and the way he's chosen to play the game. It's very reminiscent of the game maybe 2 or 3 patches ago, when we were seeing a lot of really heavy infantry American compositions because of the way you could abuse the American economy.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess he's found a way to do that again by going into advanced statistics really early and using the Pathfinders, the rifles, and the engineers at the start to gain solid map control and to gain those resources he needs to abuse those to abuse the American economy throughout the game.
Mm-hmm.
But it was really I think he's Liberated kind of sealed his fate locking into Mechanized. I feel like tier 4 is a bit of a trap for Vermacht right now, and that's sort of a trend we're starting to see as this patch goes on. And because there's not a lot of stuff for him to call in to help him fight the infantry, apart from the Stug Ds, which he could see, right? He could see that it's like, oh, I'm actually in trouble here,
mm-hmm.
and my Battlegroup, this is like the only thing I really have to try and bleed these rifles and try and get this map back. And I think Liberator was having some control group issues.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the time on the I'm just trying to think of the default camera view, I guess you'd call it the northeast side, would be like just 3 units just clumped, and that happened like 2 or 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't sure what was happening there. It must have been a misclick, because obviously he's a very good player, and there must have been some kind of control group issue he was having, because that was really strange to see.
Yeah.
But yeah. But, I mean, their KDs are really even. If you see that in the stats screen, it's not like it's a huge divide. But you just need to remember there's 25% manpower discount from when did you get it? Like the 16, 17 minute mark?
Oh, it was before that. It was like the 10-minute mark. You invested
the 10-minute mark.
Early.
Wow. Yeah. So
yeah,
that's a lot, right? That is a lot of spare manpower. I remember one of my friends recently told me that they thought manpower cheats was irrelevant now, and I had to mute my mic because he could probably hear my eyes roll if I hadn't. I couldn't believe he thought that. Being able to have extra manpower is never going to be irrelevant, ever. Especially if you have access to it so early on in the game, like the Americans do.
Mm-hmm.
There's always going to be a place in the game for someone to abuse it. Now, the thing I like about RTS games is there's lots of different ways to play.
Mm-hmm.
And I think about this all the time. It's like, well, I get annoyed because someone's playing a certain way. It's like, well, it's an RTS game. You're supposed to be able to, be a scientist and figure things out. But at what point does that go beyond the way the game's supposed to be played? Right? Because the whole point, teching is in every RTS. It's been in every RTS since Command and Conquer, since Age of Empires. And teching is always essential. But if you can figure out how to play the game without teching and succeed, is that a good thing or is that a bad thing?
This is an existential discussion that I am not necessarily prepared to have this early in the morning.
I'm sorry, Shark.
But like we talked about, so you covered this really well in a video a couple months ago, and we talked about it. And so I think it's interesting enough to me that to play like this, you still have to make certain choices, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he didn't play motor pool. He waited forever for his tank depot so that he could invest in this infantry heavy play, and that's viable, but it does have counters. And what's ironic is in the current meta, I would never consider doing this against a Wehrmacht player because I'm terrified of the invisible MG42s. And they're just so adept at locking down areas of the map, and the camouflage right now makes them so forgiving. So, I respect to Liberator for not trying to abuse the MG42s at this moment, but I think if I had to go back and look at this, and obviously, like, we can see all the tech choices, but you see Pathfinder and you see a bunch of rifles, and you're like, okay, this feels to me like this is going to be a pretty infantry heavy build, because with Airborne, because you can do the call-in AT guns, you don't need to invest in motor pool. So a lot of players that play Airborne roll kind of straight to Tank Depot. Yeah. I look at that, and I think Mechanized Battlegroup is a nice choice. Maybe instead of the support armor elements, and instead of the Whirlwind, instead of investing heavily in Jaegers, because you haven't seen any vehicles come out, you get a second MG42 to help you with crowd control. You kind of focus on 2/3 of the map as opposed to trying to play all of it, which is how the Americans spread you out and beat you. And then you go for those. I think those Stug D call-ins can carry you. The Stas, you saw, I mean, they bleed down Paras, they bleed down AT guns. The Stug Ds are resilient as long as you can keep them from getting flanked and hit with rockets. And then you can roll into the Wespa and the Panther on the back end to get yourself some closing power. I think those are the two big things that I would say for Liberator. One is trying to play too wide against an American opponent with 17 infantry squads and not being able to hold your fuel, which, I mean, it's tough. And then the other thing is a little bit of overinvestment into tier 2 in the Werbles, right? So yeah, I think if you go breakthrough, then support elements, 2 Werbles, some Jaegers or Shreks works really great. You eventually get a Tiger out and you're good. I think if you're playing Mechanized and you can stall for Stug Ds instead of the Werbles, they are better. There's opportunity cost because you got to wait for the 650 manpower to bring them on, but you get 2 great anti-infantry and anti-team weapon units with 1 call-in, and when all you're facing are infantry and team weapons, you can totally flip the script on map control. The awareness, map awareness, control group thing, like, that's a real problem. I like to think I can make pretty liberal use of control groups, right? Like, I have used all 10 control groups before in a game, but it's difficult to use anything like 7 and higher quickly and effectively. And then, this is one thing that Ares taught me early, is control groups create the temptation to blob, because you're lumping units together. And there, you can obviously like tab through the control group to move individual units. But as a general rule now, I don't put mainline infantry into a control group, and I use the TAC map to move them around. And I think, when you play once, and especially when you're playing wide on a map like this, using the TAC map's really important to prevent like that engagement with the Grens who got burned down by the Paras on one side of the map. You see that coming before they're down to 2 miles and about to die. And the audio cues in this game are good, but they're not perfect. And so, like, you'll hear the like, oh, we're taking casualties, and be like, yeah, whatever, it's fine. And then the unit's gone because they're not going to, they're not going to tell you again. They're just going to die. So whatever system you need to kind of maintain that visibility, but the TAC map's kind of unique to Company of Heroes, and I think it allows for some really high level play just because you can see everything at a glance. And then zoom in to manage a fight, and then zoom back out to see, take some practice, but I think you can definitely tell there was some control group clumping going on. But
yeah, it was sad. It's just because it was like his bleeding vehicles, like his 221 and his Rebel, were just stuck like on a point, not doing anything for so long, and it's like, oh god, I felt bad for the guy.
Yeah,
tragedy.
So on that, so I think I'm thinking through this, right? So if I am Liberator with his current build, I'd have the Whirlwind on Group 1 because it's your most mobile anti-infantry tool. Just out of habit, because AT units I usually have on Group 2. So either the Martyr or the Jaegers with Shreks, depending on the build and how you want to do it. I don't like the idea of clumping the Jaegers up together, so maybe not. Probably the Martyr in Group 2. Group 3, I think those are your Stug Ds, because it's almost like an indirect fire weapon to me, so it makes sense for me for Group 3. 4 is your Pioneers. 5, I would have the 221 because it's got that like Recce tool map hack, and so you can either use it to cap or you can back it up and use it for the radio net awareness. And I think if he had done that and kept his Grens, his Stas, and his MG42 ungrouped, then I think maybe now you've got the flexibility to either move around the map quickly with your vehicles to figure out what they're doing, but then keep your infantry spread out enough that they're not clumped up and blobbed.
I actually think he needed a Kettenkrad. I know like you're not a big fan of Kettenkrad, but I think on Road to Tunis, it's just and again, especially against Americans, I just think it's too good.
Good
if you can micro
play.
it.
Yeah, good Kettenkrad play is incredible. I don't like the Kettenkrad because I'm not good enough to use it well.
I think it would free up his 221. I like capping with the 221, but I feel like it was on capping duty for just too long. Mm-hmm. It was capping during the prime of its life where it should have been killing Americans.
Yeah.
And that made me a little bit upset. I think he just needed, and he had 3 piles. So there was room for, I don't know. I think there was just like a problem with his early game composition between capping and killing. And I don't know how to fix that. I need to watch it again, but I just feel like, the 221 should be killing when it was capping, and it was. Oh,
here's a crazy idea for you. Yeah, because I think the MG on the 221 is underestimated quite a bit.
What if, so good.
Yeah. What if instead of going Whirlwind, you get a second 221 and you run around a little pack? The only thing you got to worry about really are the Zooks, and then you go for the Stug Decal and step 3 profit.
Yeah. I went to salvage. I was playing armored in a 1v1 earlier today. I went to go salvage one, and then I accidentally recovered it. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna have fun with this 221, and it ended up being like a god. I got to vet 3. I had an American vet 3 221. It was so much fun, dude.
It's disgusting.
The MG is phenomenal on it. Absolutely phenomenal.
Oh, anything else for these guys?
Right. Yeah, I'm just talking about myself. How rude. No, I mean, it's probably like 1,000 times better than me anyway. It was a really interesting game. Thank you for sending it here. It was appreciated.
Yeah. Hey guys, thanks for sending in. GG's, well played. GG's Saba and Haas from the first game. Jamie, thanks for taking the time, man. This was fun.
Yeah, cool. Thank you.
I just wanted to throw one more thank you to Saba and for Liberator sending these games in. This is really kind of fun to watch and analyze. I always learn a lot in the process. So again, thanks guys for highlighting these, and GG's, well played to all involved. See y'all in the next one.